Perfect.
Welcome to Tips for Gamers. Today we're going to be breaking down the top 5 superstar halfbacks to trade for in Madden 23 franchise mode. So let's see if we can get this video to 200 likes. And if you guys had to choose a halfback to redraft, if you already knew who they are today and you went back in time to draft them, who would you draft first? Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, or Derrick Henry? Let us know in the comments below. So with the running backs that we're going to provide on this list for you guys, these guys do exceptional whether it's user play or simulation. So just note that if you guys are in simulation, you're covered. If you're in user play, you're covered. So coming in at number 5, we have Isaiah Spiller. The thing about Isaiah Spiller is he is a little bit of a sleeper. He's a normal dev. He's 21 years old, very young rookie, good size. He is almost a bounce halfback. He's 5 points off of being a bounce halfback. This is a running back that has a high ceiling. However, you need a good supporting cast and you need to be smart with what you're doing with him. Whether that's simulation or user play, the supporting cast has to be there because this back is not your back that you're going to just release him out of the gate and he's going to run like a freaking horse. That's not how it's going to be. He's going to shock you with his performance, but at the same point in time, you still need to work on him and invest into him. That is why we recommend that you put him into a 3-year program to where he is in your weekly training for 3 years. Okay, that is what we recommend. Now, we also recommend that you upgrade his power back first and keep his elusive back 2 points behind his power back rating. So he's a 68 right now, elusive back 73. That's a 5-point difference. Over time, just keep working on that, and you'll see his overall still increase. Now, why did he make it on the list? Well, there's a good reason for this. Okay, he has a lower awareness, which is great, and he was drafted in the 4th round, so not a lot of people, think very highly of him. But at the same point in time, 88 speed, 90 acceleration, 87 agility, 79 break tackle, 88 carrying, 81 ball carrier vision, 81 trucking, 73 stiff arm. If you're going to juke with him, you're going to get loose with the sticks here. You got to go with the juke move, not the spin move. It's a 10-point difference. You have to work on that yourself. If you're in simulation, you have no choice, and it's up to him, but don't worry, he's not going to be hitting that too much. He's going to be running straight. He's got an 84 COD as well, so you can see, for those of you who understand a lot of the numbers and the ratings, you can see that he's an interesting halfback based upon these numbers. He's got a 75 strength too, so it's not like he's weak. Thing about him too is if you have a workhorse, he's got to be able to continue the grind. With a 91 base injury, 90 stamina, 87 toughness, he has the ability to do that. Okay, so this is a halfback that we definitely recommend, and trading for him is pretty simple. All right, so for Isaiah Spiller, I almost want to call him CJ Spiller every time, but Isaiah Spiller, his fair value right now as a rookie, not a 1-year pro, but as a rookie right now with what we're seeing, he's a 4th round pick with possibly a 7th round added on top of it. That's it. Okay, the really good halfbacks are going in the 2nd round. Really good ones, the proven ones, the guys who are the cream of the crop. Very rarely do they go, in the 1st round, and if they do, they usually go late 1st round. That's just the way it works, and that's what I hold myself to that same standard. You're going to find really good ones as well that go in the 3rd and the 4th round. So he's not worth a 3rd round pick because of his development. If he had his development at a star, he would possibly be worth that. But let's say he's a 1-year pro at this same overall, same development, he's a 5th round pick, and I would even take a late 5th round pick because he's a backup. You just solidify that he's a guaranteed backup. Okay, so that's something that I would be looking for as a 4th round. If you throw in a 7th, then throw in maybe a next year's 7th, something like that. But that's a fair value for him. And if you're someone who has him on your team and you're looking for a fair value, don't ask for more than that unless you're just being greedy. And I hope no one pays you it, because that would just be, you're just crapping at people's faces at that point. Now, trading with the CPU, I'm still going with the 4th round pick value. There's a couple things you can do. You can get a green interest D tackle, trade him a green interest D tackle, and you can ask for picks back. What we did is we got an old D tackle who's like 33 years old. I don't know how old Purcell is, but I know he's in his 30s. He's looking to get released. His career is basically done. A halfback too that's yellow interest, and then a 4th round pick. Basically, the 7th round pick that we're adding is that halfback. Okay, because he's could possibly get a 5th for him or whatever. He's still not a guy that's that amazing to our team. He's just not. He's a low overall guy. And I asked for picks back. I first went for a 6th. They said no. I went for a 7th. They said no. They smidged me, and then I took off the 7th. So now I know I got 100% of my value. So this is really what you're looking at. A red interest D tackle that's in the low 70s that's old. A halfback that shows yellow interest that's not really that talented, and a 4th round pick, and you should get Spiller, and you're still getting fair value. Another thing that you can do is our SAR. We have a video on how to do that. It's our trade cheat. You guys can do our trade cheat. We have another video on how to force trades. You guys can check that out as well, and we show you how to get these trades free and clear, easy peasy. And also, if you do the SAR, know that you're going to restart his contract, and you're going to be able to sign him for like a 7-year deal right now for probably small potatoes, like really small potatoes. So that is another possibility. We just wanted to throw that out there that you guys can utilize that method. Now, the next guy on our list is DeAndre Swift. Now, the thing about Swift is he's still a 2-year pro. His overall is not great, not bad. His development, not great, not bad, right? It would be great if it was a superstar. Not bad as a star dev. 81 overall, not too terrible. There's a lot to work on with this guy, and he's pretty balanced across the board. I mean, you know, he's not really that great of a power back, but he's stocky too. I mean, he's 5'8", 211 pounds. That's not a small guy by any means. Not a small dude. But he's an elusive back and a receiving back combo, so he's your 3rd down back along with your 1st and 2nd down back. Now, to be your true power back, I know he has 3 overall points higher than Spiller that we just recommended. However, Spiller is a rookie. He's a 2-year pro, so don't hang your hat on that too much and get confused with that. Now, there's a lot to like about him. His speed is good. His break tackle's an 80s, carrying's an 89, almost the same as Spiller. His trucking's a 76, ball carrier vision 82, stiff arm's an 80. You can see he's not that far off. Besides, his COD is better, his juke move's a little better, and his spin move is by far better than Spiller. But we're talking different backs here as well. Now, the knock on him is his injury. He's an 86 base. All right, that's not my favorite. But at the same point in time, for how cheap you're basically getting him, you know, I'm not going to say that this is a bad deal. I can't say it's a bad deal. If he doesn't work out, you know, then that's one thing. But I've had Swift before in leagues, and he ended up doing, you know, I would say decently well for me. I wouldn't say he was to the top echelon as the other guys that I had on my list. But at the same point in time, he did pretty fantastic. Now, user to user trade, what are we talking here? Fair value for DeAndre Swift, user to user, would be around a 3rd and approximately a 5th round pick, or a 3rd and a few backups. Some people may say a 2nd. If it is the case, it's usually a late 2nd. But you gotta remember, the big boys are getting drafted in the 2nd round. Big boys. All right, you're still going to find some big dogs in the 3rd and the 4th. It's the way it works for running backs, ladies and gentlemen. It's the way it works. So I know some people may say, nah, he's a 2nd round pick. And if someone's giving you a high 2nd round pick for him, thank your lucky stars, because if you were in a league with people who truly knew what they were doing, you would never get that. It's just not going to happen. So that's where his fair value goes. If I could pick up a 77 overall superstar dev in the 2nd round, trade up even in the 2nd round and pick him up and do a 2nd and a 7th, would you rather have a 76 overall superstar dev halfback, or even possibly an X factor, or have DeAndre Swift, right? That's what you have to ask yourself. He's coming up on a contract. The Lions only owe him $2.77 million. Okay, so, you know, that's not a lot of money. You can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to have to pay him out of his contract. It's small potatoes. It's not going to equate. So, in reality, you'd have to ask yourself, do I even trade him, or do I keep him because I want to work on him? You know, that's basically the fair value for user to user. And the CPU, you know, agrees to a degree. You can go 3rd round pick, ask for picks back, but you're even seeing the Lions feedback, high value age or dev trait, they got him at a 2-star. Decent value for draft pick, you know, it's somewhat of an exchange, but you could have still asked for more picks back and gotten even more, but this is really what you're looking for. I think the CPU has this correct. Next guy on our list is Breece Hall. Breece Hall is going to be injured for an entire season, which is perfect. It's perfect. That's why he's on this list. And you know, at first when I looked at him and said, well, he's injured, I probably shouldn't put him on this list. I said, no way, I'm putting him on this list because there's a strategy behind it. He's actually going to barely increase in overall. If he started this entire year, he could go up to an 87 overall. And then good luck trading for him. But Breece Hall gives you base numbers that are ridiculous. So he's probably going to jump up a few overall points in the offseason. And that's when I would go and trade for him. It's good for you. It's good for whoever's trading him away. They only owe him like $2-point-something million, nothing big. He was drafted in the second round anyways. He waited at the draft, wanted to partake in the draft. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and this guy is a horse, man. He's 5'11", 220 pounds. The guy's a Clydesdale. All right, he is nasty, bro. So 93 speed, 92 acceleration, 91 agility, 82 break tackle, 91 base carrying. These numbers will slightly differ from what you see because obviously he had some upgrade points. He's got an 84 ball carry vision, 80 trucking, 80 stiff arm, 87 juke, 83 spin, 91 cod, 76 strength. He's got a 91 injury, 93 stamina, 90 toughness, and he's got a 69 catching with a 61 short route. Okay, you're talking a dog. Let's look at his receiving here. You got a 72 overall receiving back. He's an all-down back. He's a 75 power back, 83 elusive back. This man has a ceiling that's very high. Now, when I was talking about the difference between DeAndre Swift and why he's not a true second-round value is because you got men like this who are out there. This guy's holding that value. If you're talking user-to-user trading, what are we projecting him at? A high second-round value, even with being injured. High second-round value, okay, because that's where he's going, maybe a seventh-round pick, some decent backups. But this guy is going to produce. This guy is he has the potential to be a Hall of Famer, whether that's user or simulation. You have the right supporting cast around him. This guy's a dog. I mean, honestly, he's a Clydesdale. All right, so this is another value, too, that you can be looking at. They need outside linebackers. That's what they need. Trading away a left outside linebacker to him, too, that is a solid left outside linebacker. And I can't say that he's going to be the next great. I can't say that because he still is a project player to a degree. And then you got Hicks, who's older, and then a second-round pick, draft pick 51, so it's a later draft pick. But there you go. If I had an earlier draft pick, it'd make things different. But still, I'm giving up a draft pick, a decent middle linebacker, and a left outside linebacker that, in reality, I could draft better. Okay, so I already know that. So right here, I'm getting an absolute dog, and they don't pay very much, and I'm getting a running back who's going to last me the next 13 years probably. Just a rough estimate, 13 years, maybe that's pushing it. You could even probably say 10 years, and that's definitely a safe estimate. But Breece Hall definitely made it onto our list. I hope this guy reaches his ceiling, man. It'd be great to see. All right, so the next guy on our list is Kenneth Walker III. He's an 84 overall rookie right now because Madden upgraded his overall, obviously, throughout the year, and they're finding that he's very talented. He's a Big Ten guy from Michigan State. Anyone from the Big Ten can tell you about Kenneth Walker, who are fans from the Big Ten. They can tell you about Kenneth Walker because the dude, ask Michigan about Kenneth Walker. They'll tell you right away. He was a beast. So with him, it changes that dynamic for him because of his overall. So he's mid-first. That's what you're looking at, mid-first round pick, and then a really good secondary player. All right, that's user to user, and then throw on like a little bit of maybe a fifth or something. Yeah, you're going to have to pay for him because you're getting a guy, if you start this year, and not if you advance a year. If you advance a year, that drops down a little bit here. But if you start this year and start playing this year, you're talking a mid-first round pick. You're talking a good backup player. And then you're talking, a fifth-round pick on top of it. When I say a good backup player, I don't mean like the guy is going to be a backup. I'm talking he's a younger guy who has that starting potential. 75 overall range right there with like a star dev. That's what I'm talking about, fair value, just because you're getting an 84 overall rookie. And the guy has the decent stamina, 88. Okay, I'd say that's above average. I wouldn't go elite on that, but above average. Injury is base is an 89. Can't say that's too terrible. It really isn't. It's not the best ever. But still, the guy has 94 speed, 94 acceleration, 92 agility, 83 brake tackle, 92 carry. I mean, just look at these numbers. I don't have to go through all these numbers to show you how good he is. More juke than spin. Recognize that, just like that with Spiller. He is more into the juke than he is in the spin, but he can stiff arm, so you can utilize that as well. He's part power back as well as 79 power back, 5 points off, just like Spiller is. You know, you're talking this guy can hit some big numbers. So when it comes to CPU to user trading or user to CPU trading, you're talking, you know, how much do you want to absolutely crush this trade is really up to you. I mean, if you want to do the fair value, we've already talked about what fair value is, but it's up to you because you can really crush this. One thing that you have to understand, right, is in reality, let's say in real life, you said, I'm going to give you a second round pick and I'm going to give you Montgomery. Not Whitehair is not on the board. Okay, a lot of people would do that. You just say, all right, I'm getting a second round pick. Montgomery's the same overall. Yeah, he's a multiple year pro. He's coming up on a contract. I'm going to have to pay him, but I'm getting that second round pick. Chances are it's going to be a good second round pick. And, you know, you kind of make that determination. The CPU doesn't think that way. The CPU is like, why do we want a halfback when we got a halfback? And they don't consider that the halfback's in the trade. So when I make this trade, it'd be smarter not to have Montgomery up because then you get more value. So if I do this and I put up like an old guard here and I go 6th round pick here, you can see I'm very, very close. Obviously, at this point in time, I would go for a 7th round pick, see how that works. Boom, bam. The trade was accepted. We know both parties walk away saying we got 100% of the value. Okay, 100%. There was no question at all. Well, now the running back, you know, I don't know if Perry's going to hold that same value, but you see their team needs changed drastically, right? And so now when I throw up Montgomery, he's a green interest. So that's how the CPU works. The CPU is just going to consider what do we have right now. And in reality, I don't think you could get this. I don't think it's, yeah, you can't get this. But I wonder if you could try to do something stupid like this. And yeah, and you're actually way closer. Like you can get your second round pick back. Probably throw up, I don't know if this would work. But this is what I would try. Like this is what would go through my head here. I would want the 3rd round pick. And let's say even I was trying to get more draft picks for the current year, then I would do this because I would want to trade one of those draft picks away, and that would be my goal. But because it's current year, they're trying to crush you down. So if I just did a 3rd of next year, would that work? You know, and then you're talking here, I maybe add on a pad-on player, something like that, see if this goes through. They don't, you know, whatever. They said no. And then from here, I would say, all right, you need a quarterback. I'll give you this guy, Nathan Peterman. He's not going to work. It's not going to work with him. But just going through, you know, you would look at some position that they need. Let's go right tackle, something like that. Yeah, this would even be more valuable, in my opinion. I would go for a 4th here. Try this. I'm just showing you guys, like, you know, how to work it. But basically, this is what you're looking at. You get a 2nd, a 3rd. You give up 2 okay guys. A guy's a backup. You know, you can profit from that. So there's, you know, different types of trading that you guys can do. So the next guy on our list is not Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is 83 agility. That's why he didn't make it on this list. Christian McCaffrey has an 86 injury. Why he didn't make it on this list. King Henry is 28 years old. Why he didn't make it on this list. Josh Jacobs is good, but for what they want for him on average, remember, every team trades differently with every team, but what they want for him is not what I'm willing to give. Okay, so that's why he didn't make it. If it's user versus user, you're still looking at late 1st round pick for him just because he's coming up on a contract. You know, maybe add in another player. You know, 80 maybe would be the range. 80 overall for the next player to add into him, add in for him. But the guy who is the guy to trade for is Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is the guy, when you simulate, he usually, on average, becomes the #1 halfback in the history of the NFL. Big Ten guy out of Wisconsin, massive dude, elusive back, power back. He's got all the bells and whistles. And when I said Breece Hall was a Clydesdale, I meant it. But the thing is he is a little bit bigger and a little bit faster. So when you saw the last Clydesdale, you said, wow, that's a big beast. And you see him and you're going, that guy's just a little bigger and a little faster, and I'll tell you what, he's a little meaner. All right, so this guy is a monster, absolute tank. I mean, you look 94 speed, 93 excel, 87 agility, trucking, ball carrier vision, carry, juke move, spin move, COD, you name it, the list goes on. Look at his stamina. A 97 stamina. The dude is almost perfect on his stamina. So not only do you got a workhorse, but you got one that's got more tank capacity than all the rest. Just insane. The numbers are insane what you can do with this guy. Injury, toughness. The guy's a tank. He's your all-down back. He can even receive a little bit. He's got elusive. He's got the power back going. He's actually true balanced power, true balanced back. You can move him elusive. You can move him power. We recommend going power. But absolutely phenomenal. Now, fair value for him would be mid-first round pick. You could throw in a second-round pick on top of that. But you're looking mid-first round pick, and you're looking either that or an elite player as well, exchange, or, mid-first round pick around that, and then like an 85 star dev with decent age as the other, contender that maybe even throw on a fifth or something of that nature. I would let you guys work it out because, you don't have, but 2 first-round picks for him. I'm not going with you on that. I'd rather go 2 second-round picks. I think that's a fair value and another player, but I sure in the heck wouldn't do 2 first-round picks for him on that. Yeah, he'll become the best halfback of all time, and that's great, but still value is value, and that's the way it works. 2 first-round picks, I don't know if I'm just not there to that degree. That's especially high first-round picks. You're paying so much. You're giving up so much there. I mean, think about it. You could get, if they're high first-round picks or decently high first-round picks, you can get an elite quarterback and an elite offensive lineman who can both become Hall of Famers. You can't tell me that 2 Hall of Famers isn't worth, or is worth 1 Hall of Famer. That's just not the way it works. Okay, so that would be our value, mid-first-round pick in a good player. I wouldn't say elite. I would say good, 85 and above star dev. Okay, or first round, maybe throw in a second, and then some other player that's possibly not that good. So I want to give you guys some perspectives here too, so you guys know the trade value, what would cost in a CPU format. Okay, they need a right guard is what they need right now. So for the CPU, a thing you could do is you could trade them if you give them a first 10th overall pick, right around there, you're probably still going to have to give them a second round pick, and then you're going to have to give them a quarterback or 2 second-round picks, something of that nature, to try and get the trade to go through. Now, that is a lot. That is definitely a lot. So some things that you may want to think about is going after some of these linemen, like Joe Thuney is a guy to go after. Joe Batonio, possible guy to go after. I know Joe Thuney is decently cheap, and that's just the way it is. He's decently cheap. Sheriff can be decently cheap as well, depending on the team that you're trading for him with. There is that. But funny, just to give you a perspective here, if you were to go this route and you don't want to spend all that money or all those draft picks, you like having your draft picks, definitely something you can do is like, hey, okay, I'd give you a second-round pick. I wouldn't give him the current year's second-round pick. I like to hold on to that at all costs unless I'm going for a really big-name player. But you could see your second-round pick almost get you Joe Thuney, right? And now if you move Joe Thuney to a right guard, his value is going to be tremendous when trading for Jonathan Taylor. Okay, so you may not have to give up as much. Also think of it that way. There are players that you can utilize that can help get this trade to go through. So like we already mentioned, a first-round pick 10, you probably have to give up slightly more. Depends. You may have to give up 2 seconds, which is a lot. I would not do that. I'm not going to do that. But if I'm in the situation I'm in and I don't go and trade for Joe Thuney because I don't have to in this situation because I have the 7th overall pick, remember that this is projected. Okay, I'm about to get JT. The chances of us having the 7th overall pick is probably slim. Okay, so that is something that you have to take into consideration. So if I make this trade here, they're more than likely going to say yes to this. Now, I would still try to get a current value. Can you get 2 seconds? Okay. So I know I can get 1. I'm obviously going to go for I might be able to get 1. Okay, so I can't get that 1. Now I know 3rd round pick possibly, but let's just say I go with a 2nd round pick of next year. All right, I know I'm decently close. So at this moment in time, you have to ask yourself, all right, do I go give up a quarterback because I want that second round pick. They actually decreased the value tremendously. That was crazy how much they decreased that value over that guy. This is crazy. They really hate those guys. That's so funny. Anyways, giving up, like, what if I gave up Jones and then got a second round pick? They still don't want it. That's funny how bad they absolutely hate those guys. So yeah, I would go third, fifth round pick. Try that. They say no to that. You obviously want to go to the next year then, do third and fifth round pick. Try that, bounce back and forth as much as possible. And at this moment in time, I'm sitting there saying, ask myself, well, is that a fair value? I want the third and the fifth round pick of next year. And maybe I just say, fine, give me the third and the sixth. They'll probably still penny pinch the crap out of me, and they're not going to do it, so I'll give them the third. I'll do the third, throw on a seventh at this moment in time. You can see this doesn't, this is actually a pretty quick process. If they don't give it to me for this, all I would do is upgrade the next year. You can see they said no. I got the pick 199. So then I would say this, see what they do. They say no, go with the sixth, and this should do it because it's 1 year. It's the current year seventh instead. So now, through that huge workaround, we're looking at I'm getting JT and a third round pick for a sixth and a seventh and my first round pick. Now, this is a deal I would do because I'm also getting a third round pick in return, and I like that. I'm not opposed to this deal, even though I typically would never give up a first round for him. But I feel like, all right, I'll go heavy on the second round this next year, and I won't worry as much on the first round. I already love second round picks tremendously. If you haven't seen our video on a huge draft secret, you got to go check that out. Pop in the top right corner of your screen, because then you're going to feel fine with giving up some of these picks if you just do it based upon, hey, I want the best halfback in the league right now, and I'm going to do it for simulation or user. I'm going to give up this pick and kind of maneuver around this way.